Boston police are still investigating exactly what caused the crash in South Boston last month that killed a toddler in a stroller on the sidewalk. It's both heartbreaking and frustrating for a community that has long raised red flags about the dangerous effects of worsening congestion in the area. Stephanie Leydon has a look at what's being done and not done to make city streets safer.
If the makeshift memorial to a 2-year-old boy doesn't remind drivers of what happened here at the intersection of 6th and L Streets in South Boston, then perhaps this will. A speed reader went up in the wake of the deadly crash. Residents say speed is a problem, but that's not all.
Count the cars. Out of the next 5 cars, they guarantee 2 people will be on the phone.
Chris Delaney lives around the corner, says getting from one side of the street to the other has become increasingly risky.
You got to make eye contact with anybody before you even attempt to cross, even if the car's stopped.
Concerns like his are well documented. A city map shows an almost solid row of dots along L Street. Each one represents a complaint of everything from stop signs ignored to speeding.
Easy, all right.
In other words, Boston drivers at their worst. How do you change that?
If we design streets to slow traffic down, then you don't have a choice to be a jerk. You have to go 20 miles an hour.
Stacey Thompson is with the Livable Streets Alliance and says there are proven ways to slow down traffic. For instance, a dedicated lane for bikes and buses like this one along Mass Avenue.
There's a cyclist coming right now in the bike lane.
And he's safe. This is a space for buses and bikes. He's got lots of space. He's doing all right.
So this is an improvement.
This is an improvement.
In Boston's South End, the city improved this intersection after a woman was killed trying to cross Tremont Street. Then, 2 years later, another person was killed a few blocks away.
To the city's credit, they were like, okay, we need to now look at it as a corridor.
All along Tremont Street, crosswalks have been overhauled, making it not only easier to get across the street, but, says Brendan Kearney of Walk Boston, altering the way drivers navigate the road.
So instead of a straight shot down the street for drivers, they're having things that are changing their perspective a little bit, making them slow to go a little bit around it.
And advocates say, as with Tremont Street, the city should make changes not just at the site of the fatal crash, but along the entire length of L Street and beyond.
What happened in South Boston was not an accident, it was a crash. And we need to look at how the street was designed, we need to look at driver behavior, and we need to decide what those causes were and implement solutions that we know are helpful.
Stephanie Leydon joins me now. Hi, Stephanie.
Hey, Jim.
If some of these I don't mean to belittle them, relatively minor changes like changing the crosswalks make a difference, hold up, why not just do it?
Yeah, the advocates call it low-hanging fruit.
Yeah.
I think because it can be controversial. For instance, right now the city up and down L Street are removing parking spaces near the crosswalk so that drivers have greater visibility. When you start talking about parking spaces in these neighborhoods, it's a big deal.
We should be clear also, assuming that I'm right, while this individual situation is absolutely horrible, pedestrian safety issues transcend the death of this
Oh, absolutely. Across the city, across the state for that matter. I mean, it's just as much a problem in other parts of the state as more in the city, but there's more people in the city. Last year, there were about 8 pedestrian deaths in Boston, hundreds of people injured. The city is trying to implement this Vision Zero by the year 2030. It's very ambitious. They want no serious or fatal traffic crashes.
And beyond the mechanical, again, I don't mean to refer to them in the pejorative, beyond mechanical fixes, for lack of a better expression, if you step back, are there big picture solutions?
Oh, sure.
Like what?
This is something people are thinking about. Well, the big idea, of course, is to have fewer cars on the road. Much easier said than done. This Livable Streets group actually did a study over in the Longwood area. They found about a third of people would leave their cars at home. But here's the if they felt that biking were safer, if they felt that public transportation were more reliable, and it wasn't going to take just as long in the bus as it is their car.
Long way to go. Stephanie Leydon, thanks so much. Really appreciate your time.